I'm recording, motherfucker. I've got all dust all over my laptop.
That's fucking hideous, my end, dude. I just pressed record and it started with this kind of like.
Talk to me about your circumstance right now. I want to know about what I was thinking driving over to the shop, because I come out to the car and the car was covered in snow, and literally what I was thinking is I'm coming into a shop and putting the heater on and setting my laptop up, and I'm gonna have this conversation with you over Zoom, and you're essentially sat in a vehicle.
Yeah.
You've turned up and
You're covered in snow.
You actually, I'm just going to point out that I pressed record and you made me stop because you was just layered up in really weird shit. You had like some gym wear on, then a dressing gown over the top of it, and then fucking 2 woolly hats on. Tell me about being in a van in this weather. Like, what the fuck?
Well, this is the thing, right? So my like I think I would have been good because in terms of like insulation, I did a good job of insulating it.
Yeah.
However, it fucking insulated it. I used so what I used is you got like this like silver stuff for insulation.
Yeah, I've seen it. You get that old yellow shit, and then there's the silver stuff's like the
and then you get the board, and then you get the board as well. So I use silver stuff, then I use the board, and then I use like shaving foam.
You can tell we're not builders, can't you? I used the silver stuff and the foam. But
Yeah.
you actually used actual shaving foam because you couldn't get the proper stuff.
Yeah, it was too expensive, so I thought, well, fuck that. I can buy shaving foam for like
your logic was foam's foam.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether it's shaving or what. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then so that was all well and good that I insulated it, and I did a good job using the tin stuff, the foil stuff, the board and the foam. And then the gas dude was like, yeah, in order for me to pass the gas certificate, all I need you to do is just put several holes in your van, literally this big in my van. So I've got like several of these holes that are that big that, I mean, you can feel it, dude. Just in here, you just feel the fucking breeze coming through.
Hang on, what's the reason behind the needing to be holes in the van?
Because gas is heavier than oxygen and nitrogen. So if you have a leak, it will fall down. So if you start to have a gas leak, the gas falls down because it's heavier, and so then it can exit out of the van. But essentially, all that's happened is it's come at a cost. So like, yeah, I'm safe and I'm not going to gas myself. But at the same time, if it's -2, it's the exact same temperature in here.
I just imagine like someone building a house and someone comes around to pass the gas off, and they're like, I can't pass this kitchen off. And they're like, why? And there's no holes in the floor this big. You need several holes just in your middle of your kitchen floor, just dead randomly in there. What the fuck? I've never heard of that shit.
Yeah, like he's like this. He's like, no, that won't do. And they're like, what is it? And he goes, well, you see this beautiful brickwork, this red brickwork. You're gonna have to remove this brick here, this brick here, and then you've just got fucking brick holes that you just see straight through.
Yeah, perfectly square.
Yeah, just getting you to remove bricks from your house. Yeah, so it's very cold in there, and I've usually got heat, and I've got a nightcap heater.
I was going to say about that as well. So what we've spoke about this before. So when someone sets a van up, as what's it classed as, a camper van, is it?
Yeah.
Essentially, like, do you have to register? Is it different insurance, or do you have to register it as a vehicle to live in? How does it work?
So I insured it as a camper van. I just have to send off. Well, you have to send off photos to DVLA, and it's got like weird requirements. So you have to send certain photos, but like some of the strange requirements is like
they need to see you on the bed in a picture of you on the bed in your boxers to prove that you do sleep in it. They need to see some skin on the bed in the camper.
Yeah, or send me the earplugs that you wear when you're asleep or something like that in the post. Yeah. or I have to send them a meal that I've cooked. So I like package up a meal and I send it to them, and it's like they need proof that I can
Or
cook.
you have to cut out a really small sample of the bedding that you use and then send it in, and they do a smell test on it to smell whether it's been slept in or not. This linen smells clean. It simply won't do.
Clean linen. And then, but I'm using my heating from the front because my cab heater's not working. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Usually it's the battery, but it's a learning curve, dude. It's one of them where I want to build another van, and I think obviously the next one's going to be even better. But it's for my first build. I'm very proud of what I've done. It's a good achievement, and it's lasted me a winter. It lasted me last winter. I was fine.
When did you make the van?
2 years ago in April. I finished it in April, I think, 2 years ago. Also, it'd be 3 years.
If you don't mind me asking, like, you don't have to be specific, but what sort of costs have you had to put into it? Like, you've bought the van.
20 grand, I think.
Is that what you put into everything, buying all the...
Yeah, I bought the van for 11 grand because it was new, fairly new. It was like, it only had, I think it had about 58,000 miles. And it was only like a year and a half old. And then, I probably spent 10 grand, 10 grand doing it up.
Do you know what's weird when you're doing a project? Because I've been through this with a shop. You buy your initial things. So we bought the wood to build the wall, you know, like the wooden beams. I think they're called like 3x2 beams. And then what we did then was basically we laid out the initial outlay for the stuff. And then what you do is you think, bloody hell, this is going to be cheaper than I think. But then when you get into it, all the smaller things cost loads more, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And did you have any projects? And this is real disheartening as well. It gives weight to the whole idea that, you know, when you set a goal, you should always give yourself 3 times the amount of time is what you, and that's the thing for like setting goals. We tend to like look over our abilities a little bit, and we tend to think we can do better than what we can a lot of the time. And we kind of daydream on it.
Yeah.
And I found this, dude. Do you ever find it where like you give yourself like allocated time slots? So you'd be like, oh, I'm just going to do this thing where I've got to kind of unbolt this and do this. I'll give myself like 30 minutes. And then you write the to-do list or what you want to achieve. And in that one task, it's supposed to take you like 10 minutes.
5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah. I mean, I imagine you encountered that with the shop, right?
Massively, dude. Yeah. We was running into all sorts of problems, but like what I've found in general with people in the building trade, builders are bad with the time. They're bad at estimating how long they think everything's going to be done in 5 minutes, and then it actually takes fucking like, yeah, we can build that wall in half an hour. It takes 4 days for a shitty little wall.
Yeah, literally like up to your shins, up to the middle of your shins.
Yeah, I fucked up with this coffee, dude. I've got this, and I didn't stir it, and literally the top chunk of when I first started drinking, it was like fucking quite bland but hot, and then I've got to the bottom, and it's like syrupy froth, cold syrupy froth. I've gone from one extreme to the other, from hot bland fucking thin liquid to syrupy cold gooey froth in the space of 5 minutes.
Dude, I read something real fucking fascinating. So, on the subject of, you know, earlier on when we were talking about the podcast, before we press play. Oh, actually, I want to talk to you about this as well. So you were saying that to have a negative mindset is a learned behavior and it's conditioned, right? Like, that's what you're saying, yeah? Or what do you like? What were you saying when you? Because obviously, then we were both like, actually, we'll save it for the pod.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
What I think is what I think is when you have a negative thought about something, and it never happens, the fact that you've had that negative thought it's not made no difference to the actual process of things happening, but it becomes a pattern of behavior where people can fall into the trap of thinking everything's going to go wrong, because I do it. I'm quite bad for it sometimes. I think people do it as a safeguard where they expect the worst, and if it's fine, then great, well, at least I've worried about it in case it happened. But in reality, it's probably better to expect the best, and if anything bad happens, then you take it as it happens. You know what I mean? So you only worry about something when it becomes to pass. But I find it's easy for people to look for reasons why something's going to fail, or look for reasons why something won't work, and a lot of the time it can hold you back. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to do. Sometimes you can be aware that you're doing something and not able to sort of think, right, well, last time I was worried about this happening, it never happened, and I'd spent all that time worrying and it never happened. So what does that tell me? That I need to stop letting my thoughts get carried away with me, and sort of look at things look at the facts of what's actually happening. Do you know what I mean? And it's not easy to do, but that's just my thoughts on it. What about you?
There's something called Ebb's law, EBZZ law, Ebb's law, and the idea is that neurons that fire together wire together. So what happens is, let's say at a young age, you are conditioned, like, or even you hold on, like, let's say you have emotional, so you have like something happens to you when you're young, and it emotionally, you don't want to go into that emotion, you don't want to feel it, you don't want to experience it, and you kind of run away from it. Your body will remember it. Yeah. And I'm digressing, actually. That's something different. So that's something different, actually, that body and memory thing. But yeah, that can be your body's subconscious then, and then you can, like, so that can be almost a negativity, can be a learned behavior in your body. And then in terms of what I was saying about the Ebb's law with the neurons that fire together, wire together, is it's like the way of thinking. If you keep thinking negatively, or you keep thinking optimistically, like, you can do it in terms of optimism. You can think optimistically about things, and the more you do it, that's going to become your baseline. So if you think in terms of joy and peace and prosperity, that can be your baseline. That'll be the thing that you always come back to. And it is through discipline that you can do it. And like, I fucking obviously haven't done it. You haven't done it. It's something like
we certainly haven't fucking done it.
We're good though. I think we're good. I think, you know, we're pretty good at it. And I found, and I found that interesting that you, like, that there is the science behind it, the science of, like, you know, of keep doing it, and then it just becomes a pattern, and then it just becomes a part of your mind and a part of your baseline. It's like then those connections become stronger and stronger and stronger. But what's interesting, you can change that. So you can change that connection. Is this too loud, by the way? Because it's quite loud here.
No, I think you've got the same thing going on. That I can hear the fish tank glugging away in the background, but you can barely hear it, and that's the same thing in reverse.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'll have to play the recording back and see, but one thing Smithy did notice when he put basically we'd done a podcast, and I'd sneakily ate a few biscuits, right? And Smithy's had this thing ever since being a kid. He's had this thing where he can't tolerate loud chewing. Like the sound.
Nomophobia.
What's that?
I think it's called nomophobia.
Having a fear of people chewing,
or like you can't stand it in your ears. But
yeah,
it's either nomophobia. It might be something to do with a phone, but I'm pretty sure nomophobia.
Maybe look it up, dude. Google the term while I tell this story. But Anyway, I'd secretly ate these fucking biscuits like while we'd been talking, and to me, it hadn't interfered at all with us with anything we'd been saying, right? And Smithy was playing the podcast while he was working at his, and the instant I ate one of the biscuits, he couldn't see it because he was streaming it through Spotify, and as soon as I started to eat a biscuit, he noticed the chewing immediately. He was like, "Are you fucking eating on a recording?" And I was like, "How the fuck did you notice that?" I could barely hear it, but the fact is, it had come through on the recording more than I thought. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's called misophonia. I knew it had phone in it. Even I said nomophobia. Nomophobia is a fear of being without a phone. Nomophobia. But
fucking hell, the entire world's got that at the minute, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone in the world's got that, apart from fucking people in Uganda or somewhere what might not have electricity. The only people that are free from the issue of being scared without a phone are people that don't have access to one. I do it myself, dude. I can be nipping out somewhere. I can be going out somewhere for 20 minutes and know I'm coming back, and I can get to my car, slap my pocket and realise I've missed my phone, and I go back for it. But I think, what am I even going to do on my phone in the next 20 minutes? But it's the fact that you feel like it's an extension of yourself, isn't it? You feel like if you've not got it, what if someone tries to get hold of me? What if I need to get hold of someone else? And you start thinking in your head, shit, what if I need to do this? But you do become attached to it, don't you?
Yeah, it is an irrational fear, isn't it? Because it's like the worst that would really happen is, well, no, I guess there is like, you could have like an emergency, but at the same time, it's unlikely, isn't it? It's more likely that you're gonna.
Did that burp mean to come out?
Yeah. Keep it fucking real, bro.
Do you know what's hilarious? In your body's posture, I watched the path of that burp up your fucking esophagus or whatever. I seen your body like do a little wave, had it come up, it like travelled up there. You went
like a snake charmer.
Yeah. Do you know like when you fucking hold a piece of rope and it's going like quite far, and you do that with it, and like a hoop goes along the rope like that?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
So this thing. So we're talking about learned behavior and negativity, yeah. This thing fucking blew my mind. Get this, bro. So there was a Israeli doctor that did a test. His name was Leonard someone. His surname escapes me. And he did, in the year 2000, he did a test where he had 4,000 patients.
COVID test.
He had 4,000 patients in hospital, and they had sepsis, the infection. I'm not too sure like what it's about.
Sepsis, I know it's some sort of, like infection of skin or something.
I'm not too sure what I honestly don't know. Like I know it's an infection of some sort, but I don't, in terms of what it is, I'm not sure. But I know that it's like it's quite brutal.
Life.
And so 4,000 people had sepsis, right? And what he did is he randomly picked half of the people with sepsis to be prayed for. So he had like a load of people pray for them to recover. And what happened was the people that were prayed for recovered quicker. And so that was showing us.
Were they told that they'd been prayed for?
Pardon?
Were they told that they'd been prayed for?
No.
So it was done completely without their knowledge of it.
Yeah. And this is right. And this is the thing that blew my fucking mind. Right. So that was in the year 2000 that they were prayed for. But the people that were prayed for were ill 10 years earlier in 1990. Right. So what this experiment had proved, because the people that had the sepsis, like the 4,000, 2,000 were separated at random in the year 2000, prayed for, and the 2,000 that were prayed for recovered quicker, and they were randomly picked. So this proved, and this showed, because of the analytical like analysis, showed that not only can you change your present moment and your future moment with thought, intention, feeling, and praying. Not only can you change your present and your future, you can also change the past. So these people recovered quicker in that present moment 10 years earlier because of the idea of fucking 10 years on, them being randomly picked by this Israeli doctor to be prayed for back then. And that fucking blew my mind, dude. What do you think of that?
Is it all based on fact, or do you reckon the story could have been exaggerated a bit? Because I always wonder with stuff like that, like especially anything to do with religion, I'm skeptical on, because there's no scientific backup to it. Like, here's what happens in science, right? Someone comes up with a new idea. Say I decide that I don't know, say I come up with a new theory on why, I don't know, when something happened or why something happens, something to do with atoms or anything like that. If I come up with
very scientific, Paul.
I know, yeah. I was really grabbing at straws then.
Let's say you discover something about fruit.
Yeah. Anything I discover, what then happens is I need to prove it. I need to prove it right by evidence that gears towards that thing being correct. But then what will happen as it becomes a theory, other people will try and discredit it. So what will happen is if other people will have different theories and they'll try and say, well, no, this is wrong and this is why I think it's wrong. And if they can't prove it wrong and your evidence suggests it's right, then it becomes a theory that's renowned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hypothesis.
So anything to do with like, it's like with Einstein's theory of relativity, there's flaws in it, but it's the best theory to date of gauging like shit to do with the planets and stuff. I don't fully understand it, but I just know there's things that it doesn't work for, but it's the best theory to date. So it's not the entire way things happen or whatever, but yeah. So what I'm saying, that's my thing on religion. Like, there's people saying it is the way it is, but there's not really any proof of it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, like, I find it mad it was come up with thousands of years ago. We don't listen to, I don't know, we wouldn't read texts and ancient scrolls on how to fucking build the best car, or do you know what I mean? Like, we always follow the most modern, up-to-date theories on everything. But with religion, the Bible's never changed, has it? Like, it's not turned around and said, fuck that, Moses didn't, some random guy didn't part the sea, or do you know what I mean? Like Adam and Eve and all that shit. I'm not saying it's not true, but to me it's unlikely. And that's where babies come from.
This dude like studies quantum mechanics, and I really need to like read up on like what his job is, because he seems to know it all. When you read the book, it's very powerful. It's a powerful book, and I think he maybe studies a little bit of psychology, and then like, you know, the science and the quantum realm, and I just love its beauty in that, like, I'm always for optimism. I'm always for optimism. If you want to tell me a story about optimism, like, and I want to be around those people as well. Like we were talking about earlier, like, if you want, like, if you're like, right, you got 5 friends, you got a choice between 5 friends that are going to be super real with you, and yeah, they're going to be negative, but they're going to keep it real, and like, you know, that's just a fucking, that annoys me when people say, oh, I'm just being real, and they're just masking their negativity and lack of optimism as reality. Like, it's like, you don't fucking know reality. Take a massive mushroom dose and tell me you fucking understand reality, or or like, we don't know reality. You can't tell me that you're going to be real. and so I'd pick the 5 friends that are going to be optimistic, and they're going to be like optimistic in thinking, and then maybe they're going to get it wrong. But then negative people get it wrong as well. Like we talked about, like sometimes you get in your own head, don't you? I can get in my own head about shit, and it never happens. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
just wait for a bit of energy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like an interesting thing, isn't it? But what I think's mad is, especially where religion's concerned, is like these what all the stories to do with it, like, are they metaphorical? Did they happen? What's the translation? And then there's all these churches that they practice these techniques and practice all these. They pass on this knowledge, but I just don't know. Like, how does it not grow? How does it not change? They follow this book that's thousands of years old, and they treat it all like facts, don't they? Even if you could find 100% definitive proof that the Bible was completely made up, and present this evidence to the church, and with absolute no doubt that you completely proved it in their mind, like, actually, fucking yeah, you're right, and it still wouldn't sway anything. The church would go on doing what it's doing, wouldn't it? You couldn't change the opinion of the religious, like, teachings and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And that's
it's insane.
Sorry, let me just finish. That's the only situation in life where that happens. Like, I don't know, say anything you do, any other thing, you can be proved wrong, or someone can come along and say, actually, I know what you're doing, and here's a better way of doing it. Or like, how about, have you looked into this? Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it all.
Yeah, no, I like, it's crazy that not only, because I kind of get why people like individuals might be attached to their ideas, because it's egoic, isn't it? You kind of, it's your idea. Like, you're like, no, this is my idea. So now all of a sudden you identify with it. So I get why people are attached to it. But it is strange that you're actually being attached to a different idea, and that's all it is, isn't it? Religion is just an idea. It's like, what's mad is, because like I've got a few friends and clients that like are into different religions, and I talk to them about it like openly. I'll ask them questions, and some of it I'm like, okay, that's like there's some stuff in Islam and like and like with like the Muslim religion, I'm like, okay, yeah, some of that makes sense. Some of it though is fucking bonkers, and I'm like, what the fuck?
All three main religions, which I see as the Jewish religion, is it Judaism or whatever?
I think Hinduism might actually.
Islam and Christianity, they're all based on the same story, but with slight variations. Like, Christianity see Jesus as the Son of God. Islam see Jesus, baby Jesus, sweet baby Jesus. Islam
like Jesus.
Yeah, Islam see Jesus as a prophet and not the Son of God. And then I can't think how the Jewish religion, but what I'm saying is the religions are more similar than you think if you was to sit and look into them. They just have slightly different stories, but they're all quite similar. But even Christianity, it all comes from that sort of part of the world, doesn't it? Like, it's all stems from an area of the world, and it's branched out across the whole world, but it's branched into different types of religion. But yeah, I don't know what to, I don't think it's wrong or right. I just don't know. But one thing I do know is there's no hard evidence, is there?
I think that they are all talking about the same thing. Like, whether you're talking about God, Allah, Krishna, being, just like being, or like this, or even just this this talk of the unmanifested realm or the no thing, because like, you know, like so what I find interesting to think about sometimes, or I have done in the past, is, you know, like when you look out to the stars and like you see like the millions and millions of stars, and the more you look, the more you see, like that's like when you look at it, you're like for me, I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's just like millions and millions of like light years away, and that's insane how like vast it is. But the vastness of seeing the stars is nothing in comparison to the vastness of the outside of the stars. So like, you know, you have like an object, so like you look out and you can see the star, and that's a million light years away, and that's 2 billion light and what have you, and you've got these stars and you've got these systems going on, like that's vast. But what's vaster is the outside, the dark matter, or the space, the space that are like that separate the stars, because there is something in that space. Like in this space now, there is something, we can't see it, but it doesn't mean, oh yeah, it's air and it's, oh, it's 7 different gases, it's oxygen, it's nitrogen, it's part this.
There's an energy there that's holding everything together, isn't there?
Yeah,
like people, what they've determined, they looked into, like, so they're able to use the massive, they're able to look at the size of something, determine how heavy that object is, and then they're able to calculate how much gravity that object will have, and then they're able to look at the impact that the gravity of that object will have on the stars around it, or the objects around it. And what they determined was, they did the calculations for a galaxy, say a galaxy spinning with all these stars in, billions of stars. They surmised that the calculations were showing that with all the gravity with all them stars, it couldn't hold the galaxy together. What had happened is they'd simply just disperse out. They'd fling each other out of this thing. So what they've determined is there's this other thing. The amount of energy it'd need and gravity it'd need to hold all these massive galaxies together must be something that we can't see. So you can physically look at a star and you're seeing it's there, but what they can see is the effects of something invisible. And what they can do is they can detect it, because they can physically see the galaxies, the way they're moving, the speed they're traveling. And what's happening is what they've decided, they've come up with something that there has to be something else, and that's what they've called dark matter, because there's some energy, there's something there that's got gravitational effects on things around it, but you can't see it, you can't detect it. You can only look at its effects on things you can see, like galaxies. Does that make sense?
How
I've
insane!
Watched a lot of I might not have explained it very well, but I've watched a lot of shit on this and kind of understood to a certain degree. Not fully got it, but
what I noticed a while back when I did my mushroom trip was it humbled me, because when I was listening to people, sometimes this happens. As I was listening, the answers I was given, or the words that I would use, I realized that I'd approached it from a place of almost trying to give the other person the answer as if I knew.
yeah.
And then what the mushrooms did were reminding me that I didn't know. So like, you know, like if someone starts talking about like a problem they have, and I think it's quite normal for men especially to do it. Like if your girlfriend starts talking about something that she's having an issue, you kind of want to like be like, okay, well, this is something we can do to help that, and you kind of want to talk as if that. But I noticed that I was doing it with like, I don't know, just everyday sort of chatter. and it was very
Things you
humbling
have
because
no knowledge of, like really complicated subjects, and you're like, no, I understand. I know how this works.
yeah, I know cold fusion, or like even with the quantum mechanics book, that like you're like, yeah, that's interesting. I'm like, no, trust me. But you know, and like I was thinking this as well the other day, like I literally wake up and I learn every single day. So if I can do that, if I can wake up and I can learn, I can do it fucking, I can learn one thing in the morning immediately, or I can wake up and I can just learn multiple things during the day. So in reality, how much do I fucking know? Like
Yeah.
really, how much do I know? If I can wake up and learn every single day, you can, I mean, right now, you could be like, oh, I love cats. And it's like, okay, we'll watch this program on cats, and you can learn you could probably learn 1,000 things about cats that you didn't know, and you could have kept cats 20 years.
What I find is you're constantly sponging in knowledge as you in everyday life, and what you tend to do is forget things, and sometimes your memory's jogged about stuff like I don't know, like you could bring something up, even if it's a memory when you go to someone, fucking hell, do you remember when we went to this place? And you, up until that point, you could have had literally no recollection of it. And then once you're given a small bit of information about it, it starts to come back to you and you're like, fucking hell, yeah. And then you elaborate on it and you're like, yeah, I remember that actually. We went to this place and did that. And what that suggests is every experience you've had, or everything that happens, there's some impression from it in your mind somewhere, but you don't have access to every thought you've ever had. And you forget a lot of things. Your mind gets rid of things it doesn't need, but there's a lot of the time there's recollections or impressions of it. It's like with you know, when they say when you remember something, your memory of that thing's it doesn't play out like a video, although it feels like when you think about something in your head, you feel like, I remember this happening and I know it happened this way, and you feel like it's a fact. But what happens is every time you remember something, your memory of that thing changes slightly, because like human error, we can't remember something exact, but you feel like you can. And there was evidence of this. There was proof of this. There was a witness on in court on some sort of, I read about this, and it was like they were in court witnessing a really big case. I think it was like a murder. And what happened is this particular case had retrials over decades. It spanned tens of years. And what had happened is every time they brought this witness back, she recalled the same story, and a story had changed every time. And what they thought is she wasn't being honest, she was lying. But what had happened is she was remembering it slightly different each time. And the variations could have been really small, but the only reason you'd know this in a court case is because everything's written down. You have transcripts, you know what I mean? So exactly what you said 10 years ago would be there in black and white. And if you're told to recall something, then you think you're remembering it the same, you're explaining it the same, you're telling it the same. But in reality, because of everything that's gone through your head between now and then, your impression of that particular event's changed slightly, which I think's quite interesting, because you do think your memory is factual, don't you? You think, when I remember something, that definitely happened. But do you know another thing? Have you ever
I'm still with you, by the way, dude. I'm just gonna stop my video a sec. Carry on.
Yeah, have you ever had the experience where like you've done something with a friend, and then years later or a while later you say, oh, do you remember when this happened? And then your friend recalls it and he remembers it slightly different, and you've both just got your own impression of it, and you're like, no, I'm sure we I don't know, I'm sure I was wearing this particular tracksuit, and they was like, no, I thought you was in shorts. Or, you know, little details about the particular thing are different between different people. Does that make sense, dude?
Yeah, and you're
It's so weird when you go off the camera. It's like you're just talking to yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just reflection and therapy for yourself.
Yeah, like you're talking to a wall or something.
And it's like, how much of your, because like, not only that, like, of course you're saying like everybody's memories are different, and the same as that, or similar to that, is everybody's like map of the world. So in NLP, you've got something called your filter. You take things in, and your brain has a filter, and it's your map of the world. So it's like all depending on your past experiences, your previous experience, your previous experiences, and that's going to change for everyone. Like, like, and it depends on your repetitive thought patterns, the emotions that you've got buried that you haven't lived through, or you've buried, and like, this is an interesting question, dude. What so how often, if you do how often in a day, so how, because you do tattooing, so I imagine like a lot, you'll spend some time where you're in the flow state completely and you've got no thoughts going on in your mind. But how often do you think in a day, how many like minutes or seconds or hours, or do you reckon you can spend without any thinking going on in your mind?
While I'm tattooing, to be honest, the only thing I'm thinking of is the task at hand. Tattooing's extremely good for my mental health, because it allows me to, it requires that much concentration that it allows me to block everything out. And I've been through this where I've been really stressed about something, and like I've got to the shop and my clients come in and I'm stressed right up until the point where I'm designing the tattoo, and it all just seems to go away. And then even for the whole procedure of doing the tattoo, I'm at peace, because my thoughts are engaged. I'm concentrating. I'm in a heightened state in my mind, because there's slight pressure that this particular thing I'm doing has to be done right. A tattoo is imprinted onto the skin forever, so there's always the pressure that you need to do a good job. So and then what happens as soon as you stop, it comes straight back to you. Do you know what I mean? So I'd say the only time I'm able to do what you're talking about is during times of extreme concentration on other tasks.
So I think, back on the camera now, dude. So I think, from my personal experience,
I hope you've not gone off the camera to masturbate, because my conversation's so exciting. It's just giving me direction.
This got me thrilled. Got me thrilly. I do it with.
Sorry, I lost you then for a sec, dude.
So for me, it's because in sports I do, like if I'm doing bodybuilding, I have to be in peace of mind a lot of the time. If I've got shit going on, I can't focus. Like I do struggle. Don't get me wrong, I can train and then get into a flow with it, but at the beginning I can't. However, I find with things like jiu-jitsu or any sort of sparring I do, and the same with reading, I have to be peace of mind. Podcasts I'm quite.
I've got massive discipline, me, with execute, and I think I've learned this through going to jail for years. I can be the most stressed out. Don't matter. I could just experience a death in my family and turn up and do a tattoo. I'm able to switch off. But it's temporary. It happens during the action of doing that thing. And what I'm saying is, for me, I'm not able to ever meditate and just focus on my breathing. The only time I'm able to switch off is in deep concentration on something else. So
for now, you said that you're.
Yes, it's temporary for me. So, like I was saying, if I had something really traumatic, like if I had a death in the family and I was really cut up about it, say I had to do a tattoo, for example, or I had to do something, just for that time, I'd be able to hold it together, do that, and then afterwards it comes flowing straight back. So it's not like I'm coping. I'm still able to execute tasks that I think need doing there and then. That's why I'm always able to I'm able on a whim to just do the pod me at any time. I can never turn it down. I'm always like, yeah, fuck it. Because to me, like, I'm able to switch off from my distractions temporarily, which I've always been all right at, really. It's probably one of my strong points. But I think that is stemmed from, like I said, when you go to jail for years, like, choice is removed from you. You go into a place where you have no choice. So it gives you a bit more of an ability to think, fuck it, just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? This is shit, but I don't have a choice. And it's I suppose I wouldn't say it's a skill, but I'd definitely say it can be useful in certain circumstances. But it's not come from a good place. If you've been locked up or whatever, you've been put somewhere where it's not a good environment. You're not there for a good reason, and you have to get on with it. The benefit you take away from that is it teaches you to suck it up and get on with a task and block out the distractions you've got temporarily, so that then. But I think it does some damage mentally. Like, I have learned ever since going to jail, I have learned to sort of. I've got a learned behaviour, where I wouldn't quite say it's a behaviour. I'd say it's a thought process, but I do a lot of the time have this little thought in the back of my head that something bad's going to happen in the near future. And I'm always thinking, shit, what's it going to be? Because it's not specific in my mind thinking, bloody hell, I'm going to get run over, or I'm going to be in a car accident. It's a slight anxiety and nervousness that something bad's coming. Do you know what I mean?
I think, yeah. So like, I wonder if that's to do with death, just to put it bluntly, because that's the one thing you have no control over, or at least you have like, obviously, ways of looking after yourself, but ultimately that's the one thing you don't have control over. So I wonder if it does stem from that. And with what you're saying about being in jail, I think solitude is very important to spend time alone, time with.
Great for spontaneous masturbation.
Yeah, just immediately.
Just loads of thrusting.
That's why you got to get that's why you got to put on as many clothes as possible. You've just got to spend time in solitude. You just dress yourself up like with the girthy as a snowman.
Yeah, just so layering that motherfucker up.
Yeah. And also, you said earlier on, you said about switching off. I think it's kind of switching on. Like, at least
what I do, and I can only do this on extreme concentration, and I can do it so much to the point where I can't even hear someone speaking to me. If I'm deep in a tattoo, I block out all the noise. I've got a tunnel focus on things, and I think that's why I'm able to do 8-hour tattoos. Dude, I can do an 8-hour tattoo and not stop for the whole time, only to quickly go for a wee a couple of times. Or have a dinner break. I'll literally just do the entire thing, which is massively like, it's quite taxing on you. Like, at the end of it, you're physically drained, but I am able to. I think it can come across as being quite ignorant sometimes. Like, I've had times where I'm tattooing or whatever I'm doing, and I'm not able to hold the conversation very well, because if say I'm talking to my client, what'll happen is a tiny bit of the focus is removed from the quality of the work. So I'd say I slow down a bit with a tattoo because I'm distracted, I'm talking, so it's taking a little bit more of that focus away from the thing itself. But communication's something that doesn't require too much concentration, because you're not having an in-depth. It's not like us where we're fully zoned, we're locked in, we're chatting shit. It's more like just, oh, what you doing at weekend? Or do you know what I mean? The conversations, it's small talk, and it's not too important. It's just so you do engage. So there's not that feeling like because an 8-hour tattoo is quite a long time, so you wouldn't sustain an 8-hour conversation for the whole tattoo, but there's bits of conversation throughout the day. Do you know what I mean? And then what I have is I usually have, to be honest, a lot of the time I listen to podcasts. I put Joe Rogan on, or whoever I want to listen to, and I'll put podcasts on or put music on in the background. So that just allows for the distraction.
In this, I think one of your strong points then, listening to that dude, is I'll bet you could be a fucking really good athlete if you could, like, with that focus, you know, like what, like, so, you know, like in the UFC.
Yeah.
Do you know Khabib Nurmagomedov, the wrestling dude from
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I was talking to my client who's he's a Muslim and he loves Khabib as well. And I was saying, like, one of the things I've noticed with, or at least because I know about, I've talked to him about praying and like how devoted they are to like working with the mind. And so I think the reason he's so great is because he's so devoted in terms of like the mind. Like, he prays 5 times a day. He's devoted to his mind being right. And nobody mentions it. Like, I don't ever hear people talk about it. And I seen one post where it said about, oh, the reason Khabib is so good. And it said, oh, because he doesn't drink. And it's like, that's not it. It's not about not drinking. And like, I think it's about going inward. It's about the mind. And when you were saying earlier on about the ability to focus and just that one, like, block everything out, that's visualization. That's an incredible ability that the reason I meditate is because I want to have that visual. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to perform that more. And by the sounds of it, I'm nowhere near as good at focusing and paying attention as what you are. If you can do that for 8, I mean, that's insane. And that's going to be a very, 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 very strong thing for you. Like, if you want to, and if you want to learn how to, if you want to visualize, you can make things happen in your mind. So you'll be able to, like I said about the wiring of the neurons that fire together, wire together, you're able to, if you can make your own pathway and you can fire and wire your own pathway in your mind, that neuro pathway, then you're better, because that's what manifestation is as well. Is like, it is like we talk about with the action. However, what I'm learning at the moment is it happens up here first, and it's like, and you see multiple, you know, like, you'll see multiple examples of that happening.
Yeah, cool. I think what you're saying there in terms of based on like how I am as a person, you're looking at the practical applications, which, yeah, it might make me good at tattooing, or it might mean I can focus on a certain task, and it might mean it might benefit me in the gym or wherever. But where I do struggle with it is it can sometimes make me see what a lot of people have said to me, and it's cropped up time and time again in my life, is I look like, some people have used the term, it's like you're not in the room, meaning like, because someone will go to speak to me and I'll just be, I'm not an ignorant person, but I'll just be like so engaged in what I'm doing that I just don't even acknowledge it sometimes. And like, some people can think, bloody hell, I'm trying to talk to you, dude. Do you know what I mean? Are you thinking, well, oh, sorry, like I didn't even realize weren't paying attention to you. So there's a lot of ways where it can be a bad thing. It can make you come across like you are being ignorant, or you're not. It can come across like you're daydreaming in a way, because another thing that's been said about me, people said you've sometimes got your head in the clouds. Do you know what I mean? Like I look like I'm just in my own little bubble. And these are things that I don't know how true they are, but these are things that have been said multiple times. So it can come across like that as well.
In Buddhism, they talk about when the monks would clean the monastery, what they would practice is you have that ability that we talk about where you go inward, like with the tattoo, and I do very much the same. And if I'm sparring, I have to be in it. I'm nowhere else. I'm that one thought. Otherwise, you get kicked in the head or what have you. So it's like you have to be in that place. And they talk about in the monastery, the monks is when you're by yourself, you can go in, you can go inward, you can have your head in the clouds, so say. Like, as long as you like, it's also having you. I don't know, like it's because this is what I find when I get high. I enjoy my thoughts when I'm high. Like if I'm sober and I'm having thoughts, they're usually the same patterns, they're the same thought process. What I try and do is rise above it, and I'll try and use my senses around me to not have those thought patterns because they're all the same and I've had them before. They're not new unless I engage in a conversation where I'm really actively listening to the person and I can have new ideas. When I'm by myself, they're the same thought patterns. So I try and rise above it and I try and use my senses. What can I hear? What can I smell? Focus on my breathing, just so there's not thoughts going on in here that are the same. And I think that's going in a little bit. It could be head in clouds, but I think head in clouds is also when I get high, I have new ideas and I can sit and just listen to my mind and it's entertaining because it's new ideas. It's like almost like I'm reflecting on information.
Like inspiration.
Yeah. Inspiration, creativity for sure. Creativity.
Do you know what's weird with that? Sorry to cut across you. It's like.
Remind me to finish on this though, because this is something for you in order to bring you to your body.
Oh no, yeah, go on, finish actually, because this is a little bit going off subject, but it sort of does relate.
So what the monks will practice is inward, rising above thought and going in when you're by yourself. Or I guess if you find your thought process, because daydreaming, I think it's good, because daydreaming for me, what it is subjective for me is new thoughts. And almost if I'm daydreaming, this is I don't know, it's quite positive for me to daydream. Like it's not the repetitive thought process and everyday life.
What daydream is though, doesn't it?
If I think daydream, I usually think positive towards that. It's usually when I'm driving and things like that where I daydream, I guess. But so what they'll do when they're cleaning, these monks, is if they have people around them, they go more into the body, and then so going more into the body, they like into your senses, like paying attention to what's going on around you, as well as a little bit of focusing what you're cleaning or doing. And then, so that's what they say is to have go into the body, use your senses and be aware of what's going on around you and other people. And then when you're by yourself, then you go in and I guess daydream as well. Do you know what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah.
Like the sense in the
no,
body
that doesn't make sense. I think you sometimes do these things without realizing, don't you? Like, have you ever read something in a book or like you've been explained something and you think, bloody hell, I've already been doing that without realizing. And then you'll realize that there's a reason behind why you should do it. And then you think, well, I've already been doing that. And then in reverse, like you can realize something really useful and helpful and you can think, bloody hell, it seems so simple. Why have I not done that before? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's important to bring the unconscious to the conscious. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, so become I think you need to
bring the chicken to the egg. Or the egg.
Finger. Bring the fish finger to the sandwich. I think bring the unconscious to the conscious. Who knows? I don't fucking know. I keep saying, like, I think as if I know, and it's like, I don't know.
Isn't it top when you, because what we do is we're speaking on air, and sometimes we slow down the way we're speaking and we start to really think. And it's like what you're saying is really, really important. But in reality, you're slowing down what you're thinking because you're trying to think of what to say. And it can come across like we think we're really, really wise or like giving wisdom. But in reality, we're actually more vulnerable, aren't we? We're figuring this shit out as we go along. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like as we say something, we know that that's the way everything should be. We're not coming from a point where we think we know best. It's more our own experiences and what like, because dude, we do a lot of we get a lot of shit wrong, don't we? Like, I know I do, and like, I think that anyone that watches this can probably relate in certain areas, because some of the shit that goes on in our head, I know other people will be thinking this shit. Like, how can you not, with everything that's going on? People will have these same thoughts and actually think, well, because it's sometimes refreshing, isn't it, to see something on it or hear an opinion that's similar to yours, and you can connect with it and think, well, yeah, I agree with what's being said there. Do you know what I mean? I find that quite useful. Or like, sometimes if you're really vulnerable in a certain area or really bad at something, and you hear that you're not the only one, it's really common, everyone's going through that, then it can relieve a little bit of the pressure you put on yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and vulnerability is a power. It's strange, isn't it? Because it's like, it's the thing that, for me, I know I'm faced with like constantly throughout the entire day. I'm faced with vulnerability, and like with this podcast, one vulnerable aspect is the fact that, and I'd love to make a joke on this, but like, you know, like the whole, like, if you have no, we're vulnerable to feel the silence, aren't we? Like,
Yeah.
that's our vulnerability, and I experience that in everyday life when I'm PT, and I feel like it's my obligation for me to take control of this, like this space and this conversation. Maybe not conversation, I'll ask, but you know, it's like if someone struggles a conversation and it feels, I tend to try and, you know, if I feel whether it's awkward, because I have clients where we can both be still together, we can both be silent, and there isn't, don't feel an awkwardness. Like, however, others I do feel it, and in that's where I'll try, and I then have a vulnerability myself where I think, well, I have to fill that silence in between sets and stuff with something entertaining if there's a little bit like underlying, and yeah, that's our vulnerability in this podcast. And like, I don't know, like I just think, like, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking like, I'd love, yeah, maybe in the future I'll just be really stubborn, and you'll be like, do you know what I'm saying?
Walk around punching people in the face. Dude, I've got a thing about this. Like, it's going to sound antisocial, this, but have you ever got like a weird awkwardness about bumping into someone you kind of know in a public place, and you're like, say you see someone, say you see I don't know, say you see your friend's cousin and you're shopping in Tesco or something, and as you're walking towards him, you know him slightly, and he knows you a bit, and you're walking towards, and you think, do I say hello? Do I nod at him? Do I stop and ask him what he's been up to? What's the acceptable amount of conversation to have? Like, you're approaching this person, and sometimes you can do one of two things. You can be open and like let him see that you've seen him and nod at him, or you can be ignorant and pretend you've not seen him and like you look at your phone or look in a different direction, like, oh, sorry, I didn't see you there, how are you doing? Do you know what I mean? But I've had situations where, say you're walking down the road and someone you know's walking towards you, and they're quite far away, but when do you say hello to them? Because say you look at each other and you're still sort of like 20 footsteps away or 30 footsteps away, and you look at me and I nod at you and go, all right, mate, how you doing? And then you're still walking towards each other for a while. Do you know what I mean? So what tends to happen is like, and you both must be thinking the same thing. You've seen each other from a distance. You're aware that you know each other. You're both going through the same anxiety of thinking, I need to say hiya to this person. When do I do it? If I say hiya too far away, then I've got to smile and just walk towards him silently. And but if I say hiya too close, I've got to fill the gap between walking towards him and the moment when I say hiya. So I've got to like look away and stuff and like look at your phone. And it can be quite, I think it can be quite awkward. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, dude. Like I do the same when I go on, like if I go on like hill walks and shit and I'm by myself, like I'll see a dog walker and like I think it's good for me. If I think the dog looks like, I don't know, like
do you ever stroke the dog instead of saying hiya to them? You just stroke the dog. Hello. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Is I want to say hello to the owner, because I find if you're walking and you see a dog and if you say like, oh, hiya to the owner, then all of a sudden you can like stroke the dog or like the dog's cool with you. But sometimes the dog will be way in front. So then I'm in my head like, oh shit, I want to say hello to the owner, but the owner's way back there. So I'm like, I can't be like, ooh, and then stroke the dog. So it's like, I've been in them weird situations where I said hi like from miles, dude, where I'm like, whoa, and then like stroke the dog or whatever. And then I've set that, it's like, now it's like a real long distance. Like, it's not even like I've recognized them. It's like they were like way, way, way in the future, essentially.
Do you know this same thing can happen when have you ever like been in a building somewhere and like you've been walking in the same direction as somebody and like say you start a new job and you're not too familiar with the people, and as you exit a building together, you say bye to them because they're at the side of you, see you later, and they say bye to you, and then you make the same turn and you're walking in the same direction of them and they're literally at the side of you, but you've already said bye to them. So you do that thing where you have to decide, do I walk slightly faster so I take over this person, or do I slow down a bit and let them overtake me? Do you know what I mean? Because it'd just be weird to have said goodbye to someone and then just walk next to him and not say anything. Do you know what I mean?
The trick is to continuously say goodbye whilst you're walking with them. So you just got to say as many related, like in a while crocodile, see you later alligator,
farewell,
and like, farewell friend, and yeah, I wish you good health and good wellness, wealthy wellness, and just go into as many goodbyes as you can until you leave them.
Au revoir, or whatever it is. Or do you say bye, set off in the same direction?
The weird thing to say to if you want to, you know, when people say good afternoon, but they say it as like goodbye, like they do. I've seen them do it on the news, and I was like, what? It's like good afternoon, dude. Like when they like, you know, to finish it. So I'm like, good afternoon, and then walk off. You'd be like, good afternoon. Where are you going? Like, do you know what I mean? Good afternoon. It doesn't seem like an ender to the conversation.
Yeah, no, it's a weird one, isn't it?
What are you saying, dude?
It's New Year's Eve, man. How fucking weird. We've gone into tier 4. So, like, I've literally had to close the shop today. I wasn't working today anyway. I was going to have 2 days off and then carry on. I had some clients over the weekend and next week, but we've got to shut the shop and figure out how long this lockdown's going to be. But it's just fucking tedious, man. I so wish at the moment that I was just working for a company, because people that are employed, literally, they get furloughed, they just carry on getting the wage and they're just at home. But when I've got a shop to run, I've got the bills of the shop, I've booked in loads of clients, took deposits off everyone. It's just messing the diary up. And I'm energized, man. I don't want time off. I want to fucking get cracking when we work. I want to build some money up. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really, and I get the whole shit about the NHS and the fact that they don't want to overcrowd the hospitals and stuff like that. But I don't think you should be stopped from working. Fair enough. Festivals getting cancelled, mass gatherings, but dude, I tattoo one client a day. I see one person. So you can pass more than 10 people nipping in a petrol station, can't you? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go in a petrol station and see 10 times the amount of people I'll see all day in my shop. So it's just mad. It makes no sense to me. Like I'm not spreading the virus tattooing one client a day. On the off chance that client does have it and give it to me, then that person's just as likely to give it someone in a supermarket. Or, do you know what I mean? Like the risk's low.
I just envisioned you when you were like, "Oh, I'm not passing it on to my clients." I just envisioned you like tattooing someone's neck, and so your face is really close to their face, and then
Yeah.
you're talking, but you're coughing like a kid. So you'd be like, "So you got work? Have you got work tomorrow?" So
tattooing them like their face is literally here, and I just
because it's in the neck.
It's like cover the face in saliva. No,
I just coughing like just constantly, continuous.
All right, I'll just go like that. Just really inappropriately, just fire loads of snot at him. Sorry about that. I needed to clear my nostril.
Like just like sticking your finger in your mouth and then just kind of like wipe it on their chin. Just as a tattoo.
Putting a little swab right to the back of my throat and going, and then just wiping it across the face.
Put it in their mouth.
But trying to explain to them that it's part of the tattoo. Do you know that's really appropriate to the...
Or making out that you're taking COVID precautions. So you're like, I've just got for COVID and whatnot. And they're like, oh, we respect the hell out of that. And they're like, yeah, of course. And you yourself, and then you're like, okay. And then you do it into their mouth. Put it in their ears and shit.
Or like, say I want to clean the tattoo like midway through the procedure to wipe the ink off. And I just get a bit of tissue and go... Start cleaning the tattoo. They're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, sorry, I've run out of soap. You don't mind, do you?
Like a nan, like a nan's sleeve where you'll get your sleeve and you'll like wet it and stuff. Like as you're tattooing them, you're just like, oh, hang on, Poppy, you just got someone and like wet your sleeve and just rub it on their cheeks and their eyes and stuff. What are you doing for New Year? Go on, dude. Or go on.
No, it's fine. Let's just move on. I just feel like it's just going to get weirder the longer the suggestions are going to get weirder and darker.
Okay, let's see how weird and dark we can go.
No.
Or you take a shit in a Quavers packet, crisp packet.
Or like
you tie the end of, like where it goes all like loose, you tie that up and then you just start hitting them on the arm whilst you're doing tattoos with it.
Or like say they're lay back and
lay back.
Say they're lay back and I'm like leaning across them because I'm tattooing the chest, but I decide the only way to do that is to lean across them. But I've got this really skimpy pair of shorts and no underwear on, and it's just like my testicles just sticking out the side of the short, and it's just literally like dangling on the client's face. And you're just like, I'm sorry, you don't mind, dude. This is the best angle for the tattoo. It's necessary.
And then like you get off them and then like you get off them and you're like, do you want a cocktail? Oh, and then you start like making mojitos. Like you make yourself a mojito, then like you're sharing straws. Like you've got a sherry straw where you both got to like, I don't know, like it both goes into that and then it comes up and twirls around, and then you both drinking mojitos, but you're still on him, like led their tattoo and drinking mojitos together.
Or like midway through the tattoo, they're like lay on the tattoo bed, and I'm tattooing him a topless because I'm tattooing the lad's chest, and I just place a pizza on his stomach, and I'm just eating this pizza and getting it like all over my gloves, and then like touching the tattoo, and he's just like, I'm like, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to work through dinner. Do you know what I mean? I need to get this tattoo finished. He's just eating this greasy, horrible pizza.
You're just like, dude, I'm absolutely starved, and then a bit of like as you're gonna put the pizza in your mouth, bit of the tomato falls into his belly button, and you just like,
I just get it out with my tongue.
Yeah.
But as I get it out with my tongue, I'm looking up at him.
Still doing the tattoo.
Just remain eye contact at all times. Tell me about New Year's Eve, dude. I want to know everything. Tell me about New Year's Eve. You're going down. I'm fucking. I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm not got official plans, but it is like I said, we're in a lockdown. So you talk to me about yours, because mine's gonna be quite shit.
Well, I don't know, dude, because Perry's saying about by the sounds of it, they want to get on it, and I don't want to do that. I straight up don't want to do it.
Who's he? Who's him and Joe?
Yeah, him and Joe, and then I think
you do know if you go down there, there's going to be some form of you're going to be getting fucked up in some way, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, this is what I wanted to do was before what happened was they were having a meal at like 3 p.m.
Today?
Yeah, today. It's been cancelled.
Right, okay.
Well, I like the idea of going down, having this meal. Perry's doing jiu-jitsu now, so rolling with him, having a roll, you know, and having so I'll talk to you more off cam, but having a roll with him, and then just having a couple of beers. But what's really, really, as I get older, dude, what's really attractive to me these days is being like real fucking smart about what I do. So like, I can have a good amount of fun without ruining my next day and my next day. Like, so if I was to go down there and like, obviously like Joe's got a sick setup, like this DJ set, but it's not my scene at all. Like, it's like obviously the lasers and shit, and I think like he might be doing that, and like for him it's good. It's his practice.
You'll be on ecstasy, something.
Well, this is it. I don't want to be going to bed like late. So my idea would be to go down, have this meal, roll jiu-jitsu with Perry, have a few beers and that, and then just get to dude. I'm so fucking attracted to the idea of just like getting a fucking early night, then waking up, like getting to bed for like 11. You know what I mean, with a few beers or whatever, and then waking up next day fresh, driving back, and having a day where I can fucking, on the 1st of January, I can work out if I want to, just do a bit of yoga, do something nice with Lottie. You know, like, I like the idea of that rather than like the idea of like drinking, because I can still go somewhere and I can still like, my favorite thing to do is just have a few beers and have a really good, like a podcast conversation. And then boom, you spend like a couple of hours doing that, a few hours doing that, and then done. Like, I like that. And I get what I need, or I feel that I need from, you know, what I used to have as a night out. So when I used to have like night out, and it used to be like obviously going to bed late, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, like what I was trying to get from that, I can now get from just like a hearty, good conversation with friends.
Yeah, when you're a bit younger, you're all about getting fucked up, aren't you? Like you do like the party scene, staying up all night, going out, getting fucked, and just not remembering anything. But like you said, I agree. I do like a blowout now and again. Like, I still am into like a messy night out, or like a good fucking, letting my hair down. But I agree, mate. There's a lot of freedom in feeling fresh the next day, particularly at weekend. You find that you get more done. I've had a lot of, when you're a bit younger, you spend a lot of your weekends rough on Saturday or Sunday, don't you? And when you're rough, you spend half the day in bed, then you eat a shitty takeaway because you're rough. You just want to put junk food in you. It can, your entire weekend can be just the product of that night out. You've had the night out, and then you just literally, you don't get anything done after, from there on after. Do you know what I mean? And then as you get a bit older, you know yourself. People that drink all the time, they drink every single weekend, they're not as rough. But when you're quite healthy and like you just drink loads of water and you're not drinking as often, when you have one of these sessions where you get fucked or you're up all night, do you know what I mean? When that happens, you're absolutely dying from it for days, aren't you? And you can tell how toxic it is to your body. A healthier person will feel the toxic effects of taking anything or drinking or anything like that when they're not used to doing it. But people that do it all the time, they seem to not get that rough, and it's because the body's more used to it. Do you know what I mean? But being used to a bad thing is not a good thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder how many people would listen to this and you know, like the whole joke of like, oh yeah, so that's why they drink, and it's like, or whatever. So then you don't feel it as much. But like, I wondered when you said that, then I wondered if the reason why a healthier person, and it's like the reason. So if you eat well and you drink plenty of water and you work out and you don't drink, then you're going to feel your life experience and the way you feel that day is going to be elevated way, 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 way higher. So maybe as well as you saying like you feel the effects more, I think like if you're always drinking, you're going to be at a lower, like, I guess, vibrational frequency, I guess, you know, like if you like,
Yeah,
like
you just
like if you especially if you drink every day and you're waking up with like kind of like hangovers, but you can deal with it, you can get on with it, you can work. Like, I still don't think that you're going to be feeling as good as what you
could do.
like. All right, you're not hungover, but
Yeah,
you're
I'm not
probably
totally against. I still love having a party. Me, I still love drinking. I just don't do it as often because I suffer more when I do. And I think it is the fact that I'm a bit older and do you know what I mean? Like it's not completely, it's not just completely because I'm this healthy person, because I do still eat some shit and I do still go out drinking sometimes. So I think there's a balance, isn't there? There's a right amount of time to do it, and you shouldn't do too much of anything, I don't think. Do you know what I mean? Even training, like people that train, my mate Vidge in Dubai is a good example. He's become obsessed with training, and it is good, but he doesn't really have any life outside training. Like everything's about training. He gets up early. The food he eats is all about his next training session. Like everyone he sees and knows is to do with his training. Do you know what I mean? Like outside that, which isn't a bad thing, but
is there a goal though? Is there a purpose?
I think it's become his normal, hasn't it? It's become his way of life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's good if it's a purpose. I think who knows what's good and bad necessarily. I won't label it.
So in effect, are you saying you're slightly worried about going down to Perry's because of what might happen? Or are you just embracing it and you're going to go down and get fucked?
No, I'm not going to get fucked. I won't get fucked. No. No, I just do the pool as in not as in pool, as in you, as in like Pull, pool. The pool.
What?
Do you know what word I'm trying to say?
Pull.
Pool, yeah. But when I say it, it just sounds like I can't differentiate between pull, and pool. Like I say pool as in pool. I just realized maybe I say pool wrong because it just sounds like your name. But I'm thinking about as in like to pull a sledge. Or
Yeah.
pull, maybe pull. All right. So I'm learning how to speak on this podcast.
Drink-
I like that to learn new
Say
words.
the word. Say the word. What's the first letter? It's a P sound, isn't it? P. Then
Huh.
the U followed by two L's. So pull. Like, what are you saying? Pull. Pull.
Pull. No, I
What?
said pool. But it sounds like your name too much.
Sounds also a bit like a swimming pool.
Yeah.
Here's one.
Pull.
Yeah, I want you to say Paul, pool, and pull. Go.
Pool. Okay,
No,
ready?
say it fast, how you'd normally say it.
Okay. Pull, pull, and pull.
Do it again and don't try as much. You were trying to.
Pull, 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 and pull. No, it's pool, pull, and pull.
So what are we in an agreement that I pronounce things slightly better than you? Or not?
Great conjunction. Yeah, you pronunciate.
Pronunciate.
I'm in agreement that I, whom, pull, pronunciate.
No way do you say all them three words the exact same. Pool.
No, I did it. I did it on
Homo
purpose.
does it as well. He calls me. My name's Paul. Homo goes, Paul. Hey, Paul. Paul. How's he saying Paul? Paul. Paul. Sounds like he's saying poo or something.
Pa, purr, and purr,
You
and
say
purr.
Paul.
All.
Say it again.
That was you, dude. That's a mirror to your voice. I
Right,
bet that
I'll
was
say
scary.
it first, then you.
Like,
Paul.
Did it feel like I was in the same room? Did it feel like I was in the same room as you? And I was you, indeed. I was your doppelganger. Because
Do
that was
it.
exactly how you said it. What?
Do it.
You do it and I'll copy.
Paul.
Paul.
See if I can do you.
Pippy Poppy.
Pippy popping. Right. Yes.
Have you ever
How
go
long?
on.
How long's the drive from Bristol to? Is he in Newquay or Torquay these days?
Barbados? Hour and a half, hour and 20.
What I found when I was in the army and went to these different places, which I found really weird, because obviously I don't smoke anyway, but I found that people in the south smoke a lot of roll-ups.
Roll
Like
up?
roll-up cigarettes.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I'd ever seen a girl making a roll-up was in New. Like I think it might have been in Plymouth or something. And the first time I'd seen it, I was surprised by it. I thought I've never seen that before, and I'd seen it down in Plymouth when I was in the army. Well, you're doing that thing again where you have a pause after what I say. Dick.
Give some gravity to the story. Yeah. No.
Have you noticed any connection with that or not?
Yeah. No. It is interesting, isn't it? Like how you can just go like an hour down the road or up the road, and like. So what I noticed during Christmas, dude, was when I was driving from Bristol to Bath, was just the streets that you'd go on. So you'd go on these, or even like these main roads. It would start here, and then you could literally go a mile this way, and these houses were influenced by this one house. So this one house. So like, do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Just through this like one road, the houses I think were influenced by this one house that had the kind of like the icicle kind of looking Christmas decorations like hanging.
Yeah.
Like icicles, and then you'd go further on, it'd be like panes of glass where it'd have like the Christmas, they'd have like the, like the Christmas marching soldier dude with the, and then like and then they might have like a snowman as well on the, like a sticker. And that was interesting how like just the influence of that tiny small space, and I guess like with what you were saying with the habits, isn't it? And it's like you go to a certain area and it's almost like a I mean, language as well, different
I wonder
language.
I wonder how much accent affects different languages, because Manchester and Liverpool are extremely close in distance. Like they're literally like half an hour's drive away, if that. Like it's not particularly far.
By the way, I
And
love Liverpool.
yeah, I love Liverpool, and the accent can be so different. But I'm wondering if you're in like fucking Hong Kong or somewhere, and you go 20 minutes down the road, would two people sound so different to them? Would they recognize their accents? Like, oh, I can tell you from a different part of fucking China or Japan or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet so, right?
You'd think so. Like, there's definite different American accents, isn't there? Like Kentucky. Oh, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
So whilst he's paused, this is my show.
You're pausing.
What I'm going to do is
Why is it pausing, dude?
it is frozen. Okay, let me try
You
and connect.
froze for a bit then. Sorry, we're getting bad connection here. You there, dude? Hello?
Dude, I'm going to stop the recording or pause it, or if that happens again, we might lose the recording.
Why can you lose it? Yeah.
Might have done.
Right, all right. Well,
Are you still going?
yeah, I'm still going.
What happened, dude? Because I fucking got booted out of the thing. Did you?
No, I didn't get booted out, no.
All right, dude. I reckon what we do is stop the recording, then press record again, just so, and then maybe we'll better fit it together or something. But basically, I just don't want to lose this recording. Actually, you might. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, mine's still recording. I'm quite certain. Do you know what I mean? Is yours not recording anymore?
No,
I just love how anyone that listens to this back is just going to have an entire section of it discussing whether is it recorded or not. It's just me asking you and then you asking me back. Mine's recording. Is yours recording? Have you seen on Dumb and Dumber where he goes, "I didn't get a gun. Did you get a gun?"
Yeah, with the FBI thing.
Your name is Harry, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, dude, what I was saying is I just want you to press, I don't know. I'm in fear now. See what I mean? Because I was recording and I think I've lost my entire recording because it just said internet unstable. I don't know why, because I got internet. And then it went and then it came back up, but our screens have flipped round. So I don't know if it's carried on recording or not.
I think mine's done that before and I think it worked out sweet, but
all right.
The fact is, this is the reason why we do both record them, though, because on the off chance this ever happens, because if we say we had a really good, say we had some good content on one of the podcasts and we lost it at the end, we'd be pretty gutted, do you know what I mean? But at the moment, we are we're figuring out our proper flow really, aren't we?
Yeah, just trying to get a groove on it, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn my engine off, dude. One sec. Hey, imagine if like the entire recording was like on my end, so you just couldn't hear a word I was saying because I had the fans on and the engine, and like just now, like however long in we are, just now I turn it off and then now you can hear what I'm saying.
Or imagine if we played back the entire recording and you could hear all the audio, but it was just a freeze frame of our face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd just go on Spotify alone and iTunes. by themselves, lonesome in
Have you
solitude.
have you been telling any of your clients to check it out? Check it out.
Yes, I have done.
Have you what have you
Yeah.
told them to look on Spotify or on the YouTube channel?
Just have a little listen, yeah. Just have a little listen on whichever platform.
Have you shown them the icon so they can find it, or have you just sort of like said it's up there for you to?
Just said it was up there. I approach it from a thing of like, do what you want, but like, hey, I do a podcast. If you want to
So what you're saying is you don't hold a gun to their head and say you better fucking listen.
Oh no, I've got their children. No, I've got their children. Like they're secure.
You've got some really embarrassing information on them that no one wants to know about. Like you've got a photo of them, I don't know, having sex with a chicken or something, and like you saying, "I'm going to release this if you don't watch every single podcast we do."
Exactly, but there's no pressure, is what I'm saying. Like it's their decision.
Yeah,
they
ultimately,
have to
it's their decision whether they want the footage of their ass on.
And if they ever want to see their kids again. But like apart from that, like you do you, you know, I've always been that like laid back kind of guy.
Yeah, laid back Luke, even though your name's Lee. Laid back Lee.
Oh, that also works, doesn't it?
Would I be laid back Paul? Laid back Paul.
No, you'd be laid back Paul.
Paul. My
laid
name's
back
Paul. I'm gonna go in the swimming pool.
I wonder how many words I just don't distinguish.
Tell me what your last meal of the year is going to be. And don't say Perry's cock.
Well, I don't know what to say now. I'm all out of it. You've ruined it. My last meal will be... What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a tiger. I'm going to go to the zoo. I'm going to get a tiger and I'm going to eat a tiger from the zoo. So I'm going to break into the zoo.
Why don't you just eat tiger bread instead?
It's not a bad idea.
I'll listen to Eye of the Tiger from Rocky.
I like it. Yeah. Just
whilst wearing a tiger onesie.
Tiger dressing gown.
Yeah.
With little tiger slippers on as well.
Yeah, and you've just got like loads of fucking raw meat, but you're not going to eat it. You're just going to look at it while you eat your tiger bread and like dive into your primal basic instincts to be a predator. Your predatorial instincts.
Go for a little go for a New Year's Day walk, but then like try and start jumping onto deer's backs.
Dude, what's your thoughts on people that do something generous, do something charitable, but catch it all on camera and then post it on social media? So what are you doing, dude? I hate it when you go off the screen.
Oh, do you? Oh.
It's unprofessional. We've got.
No, do you? Oh,
dude, we've got many fans to keep happy here, and you're just going off the screen. What are you gonna do when this gets over 11 views? There's 11 UK citizens pissed off about this right now.
No, I'm just making myself a little coffee. That's what.
No one's asked that you're taking drugs on YouTube.
What were you saying? What was the question?
Well, I can't say it until I see your face.
No, I know the question. Okay, so I think what do I think of people that do some real kind things, but they make sure that they get it all on camera? First of all,
yeah, they make sure everything they've done goes out to the audience, and then you think, well, why would you do that thing but show everybody? That's like
you. I think that it takes courage. Okay, I think that it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of authenticity. Okay,
it's attention seeking.
Yeah.
Like if say I wanted to donate some money to charity, then I'd donate
Lord
some money.
knows I have.
What's that?
You're like, and Lord knows I have.
Yeah, Lord knows it. If I wanted to donate money to charity, then the act of doing that would be to donate the money. But if I wanted to get some kind of recognition and I wanted people to like think I'm kind, then what I'd do is you'd like put it on your social media, on your story, on your Instagram or something, and like, oh, I'm just spending the day doing this charity work and I'd like really like to give back, you know. And you just think, fuck off. If you was only interested in helping, you wouldn't need random people to see that you've done it. Do you know what I mean? And it becomes less about the thing itself and more about the fact that you want the attention for it, and it loses the value of the act itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's probably like a real tough thing to get over as well. If you're doing it, I bet it's like almost like a drug, wouldn't it? It'd almost be like the validation that you get from it.
Yeah, of course.
Tricky to like get away from.
I think there is a massive thing about that what we're always looking for is social acceptance, isn't it? Like if you go back through evolution thousands of years ago, the reason humanity succeeded and we was able to take over the world, and it's because we're social creatures and we're able to work in groups. We wouldn't have been able to take down woolly mammoths and fucking big massive saber-toothed tigers and shit on our own. What we do is we're social, we come together, and what has happened is like it's necessary for survival to have social acceptance in your tribe, in your group. And what's happening now through social media is that evolutionary thought process it's instinctive. It's being shown through people's desire for attention on social media. Like people need more. They need more likes on Instagram, more acceptance on different things. Like it does go back to that need for being accepted in the group, need to be in the group for survival. Do you know what I mean? And what it's been exaggerated now because people are more connected, aren't they? Before phones and internet, you only say hundreds of years ago, you'd have only sort of knew the people in your village, wouldn't you? In your family, you'd knew a few people, unless you like travel to wherever. But now you can know people from all over the world. You can put a YouTube video out there that can get seen by someone in, I don't know, America the next day, or do you know what I mean? Like the connections there, but the basic instincts are the same. Do you know what I mean? You're doing that thing again, the pause.
For ourselves as well.
Oh shit, dude! Stop a sec. I finished saying what I was saying then, and your face was paused, and I had to go at you for a bit. I went, stop doing that thing you do where you fucking pause after said somewhere. And I looked at you, and you didn't respond, and then it just zoomed to you in a different place, and you were speaking. So you'll have to start your response again to what I've just said.
Okay. So what I was saying was to give ourselves credit on the whole technology and the approval thing as well. Is social media and like, do you watch The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of what we're talking about in there, and that's a massive like eye-opening thing to see, because it's explaining why.
It's explaining, and the idea of like.
Just one sec, dude.
It's the idea of like social media becoming this like intelligence, this like this conscious psyche, like our psyche, like everything we do is we are doing to the, you know, like our thought process, we're using us, we're going for our thought patterns, what we talked about, and this is making the voodoo doll of you, and it knows what to give you, and it's like, so it is more complex as well. The social media thing, it is like obviously discipline and willpower to stay off it. At the same time, dude, I get caught up, man. I watch YouTube. I do it where I'll chuck YouTube on, I'll just let it decide for me. And I realize, I'm like, oh, this ain't good. This is not the way to do it. I need to go there with thought and with intention, and not have it just be something that holds my attention for a while.
Yeah, well, I think everything that people experience pleasure out of, or comfort, or anything like that, who are we to sort of say people shouldn't do that, or who's anyone to tell someone they shouldn't do something, as long as it's not immoral. But it's people can get caught up on these things for like, there's a thing on your phone where you can look at your activity on your phone and you can see that you've, like, bloody hell, in a day I've spent 5 hours looking through social media in a day, or I don't know exactly what it is, but imagine like that was the thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's the acceptable amount of time? Like, using platforms and different things, I think it's only a problem if it interferes with your life outside of that particular thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's one thing I love about podcasts, dude, is you can like have it on. Like, I'm happy if I've got like, this is when I think social media for me is okay. If I'm listening to a podcast that I find interesting, and I'm also having, you know, like washing up or cooking. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll cook and I'll wash up without anything going on. I think that's good for you. And however, like when I've got that on, I feel like for me that's justifiable. If I've got a podcast on but I'm doing things, I'm happy. I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. But yeah, like for me, I think like I don't want to spend hours on it, like where it just holds my attention and it's the phone's choice to what, you know what I mean, what I go into.
Yeah, of course. It's there is sort of like, there's a reason these platforms are so successful, and it's because everything they do, they're designed to keep you engaged, aren't they? They're designed to.
Dude, by the way, put that phone on silent, because anyone that's listening with headphones on, like I pictured Smithy there and like cleaning windows with headphones in, and dude, that must come across so loud on headphones.
Well, the shit thing is I said
like, I know the dilemma with it.
I've got this problem. Even if I put my phone on airplane mode, it comes on the screen. I can't figure it out. It's linked. I fucking can't get out this problem.
10 years from now, they're still getting pings.
Yeah. Imagine if like our podcast starts to get some traction and we start to get like a bit of an audience, and I've still not figured this out in years to come. Like I've had to speak to everybody that's got my contact number every time we do a podcast and say, please don't ring me for the next 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like I physically can't find any way around it whatsoever.
Yeah, so you take like the longest route. Like if you like record how many like hours you've put into like contacting, sending out, like you just ended like sending out flyers and shit, like things for them to put up on their walls, and it turns out you've spent like the equivalent of like 9 months straight of just trying to like and then like do you know what I mean, rather than go down the route of like some just dude being like, oh, you just got to press this, dude. You're like, oh, nice, sweet.
But yeah, soon, dude, we will, because we're starting to get some more content now. Do you know what I mean? What I do want to do is I do want to figure out how we can take snippets out of the podcast, because say we have an interesting 5 minutes, we'll snip them out and we'll upload them separately. But we'll start working on some promotion soon as well, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like because once it's built a bit of an audience, if like, I don't know, because we need to find people that are interested in, when you have a listener, someone that's gonna listen to your podcast, it's because they're connecting with something that you're saying. Do you know what I mean? They need to agree with some of the stuff we're saying. So I think there's an audience for every type of content, isn't there? There's an audience for it, but it just depends. It depends whether they like your personality, because if they just think, if they're just watching us and thinking we're two dickheads, then they're not going to be engaged for very long, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's like, I think like there's a
Look at look at these two arseholes. I can't stand them. I just watch every episode, but I hate them. Do you know, like they hate us that much, they have to watch.
Just the most loyal fan. Like, oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
We was on about I don't know, social dilemma, and then we moved on to talking about the actual content itself. Do you know what I mean? The podcast.
Oh yeah.
I just love your engagement today. I love how much you're listening to me 100%. You just you're really taking in my thoughts.
Dude, I got caught up on the word snippet. You lost me at snippet, dude. You said snippet, and I was like, great word, snippet. And then I was like, slippy,
slappy, Samsonite.
Samsonite. I was nowhere near. I bet I remembered that wrong. Talking about memories, I bet it was because I remember it now as I was he was like, I was nowhere near, but I don't know whether that's what he actually said or not. You
We're
ever
think about soon, dude?
Pardon?
We're gonna wrap up soon.
Do you ever think about your ideal self and what that looks like?
Yeah, for me, like, I wish I didn't worry so much about things, you know what I mean? Like outside, like I was saying before about being able to switch off when I'm working and stuff. Outside of that, I'm a bit of a wreck, you know what I mean? Like I do tend to panic.
So how can you reframe that? Because if you were to reframe that and like, let's say you reflected on it and you made your ideal self, what would be the positive spin on it? Like rather than say not worry more, what would be the solution?
To have the ability to not think about things before they've happened, to have the ability, like that book, The Power of Now, to have the ability to just focus on the moment and enjoy what's happening here and now. Do you know what I mean?
Can you?
Yeah, in terms of ideal self, for me, I want purpose. Like I enjoy tattooing at the moment because I'm progressing through it. So when you're doing something and you can see that you're getting better, you can see you're getting better feedback from people, that's positive. So that becomes purposeful use of your time. So I just want to always feel like what I'm doing is the right thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they need like. I thought about that with like I got my financial plan.
Yeah.
Thus living in a van, like and then I thought the other day, I was like, oh shit, I don't have like, once I've done that plan, I then need something. And then that's when I start like thinking more along the lines of purpose. Like you say, like I think that as well. Like, what's the purpose? What's the meaning? And I think one good, perhaps like purpose to have for me, at least, would be to get better at rising above thought. So, like we talked about with being in the moment. Listening's a good one. Just like that's a meditation, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Just listen, and me as well. Me try.
Right, dude. Have a top day today. You're definitely going to Perry's, and like, what time are you thinking of going up there?
I'm gonna work. I'm gonna eat, and I'm gonna work out, and then probably go down.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the same, dude.
Dude, this has been a good one, huh? It's been
Well, do you know something? I could keep going for ages. I really could, because there's plenty I've got to say to you, but I have got stuff on. So I think.
What have you got on? Tennis? Doing
No,
any tennis?
everything's shut in it. I'm dedicated to spending the day with my girlfriend. So we're gonna make the most of it. Take the dog out and stuff like that. So
All right, let's stop.
right, I'm stopping, dude. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, me too.